Okay, so let's get started. We'll try this again. Okay, so your icon um, on the desktop looks like this. This is your SpeechCAT icon. And when you double click on the SpeechCAT icon, you get the SpeechCAT main menu. And then up here, you'll see all the icons that we utilize. Now, SpeechCAT can be used for court reporting, CART, and captioning. So you're seeing all of the icons for all of those things right now. But if you go to File and Set Program View, you can choose to see only what's applicable to you. So let's say that we wanted to see only court reporting. We could click on court reporting and then OK. And we're seeing far less icons. You're only seeing the icons that you will be using. You're seeing a few more than you'll probably use, but you won't see the CART and captioning icons. So the very first thing that we do is we click on the new icon, and that brings up the new job screen. And the new job screen allows us to put in a title for the job or a case name, whichever you prefer. You can put a note. So I'm going to put in the version of the software because I'm testing. And you put in the name of your speakers over here. So I'm going to do a dictation from Real-Time Coach. And so I chose my Real-Time Coach dictation style here. And let's see what this is called. This one is called Public Meeting New Leader in Town. So normally I'll put that up here. And then I can click on real time to go directly to the screens, or I can click on OK. And I'm going to click on OK so that you can see that from this main menu, you can choose to go to real time or to record. Real time is what most people that use SpeechCAT actually choose because that will show you text while it's recording audio. The record choice will only bring up the digital recording selection. And most people who use real time don't use that option unless they have to. So we're just going to click on real time. And it's going to open up my real time window, which is over here on the right, and my digital recording window, which is over here on the left. And what I'm going to do is make sure that my speakers are input, and they are. And all I have to do then is turn on my microphone. And I'm going to go ahead and dictate into a mask, but you will hear what I'm dictating from. So you'll be able to hear how I'm doing or read how I'm doing. I have to wait until the speech engine opens down here. It says opening speech engine, please wait. That's going to bring up our user selection dialog. While we're waiting for that, I'll explain what untranslates are. This is my mask user, so I'm going to open that. Untranslates are for when a word is used that is maybe not in the vocabulary and it's not coming up right. And so we might type in a word that is not coming up right. And some of the words that it's telling me I'll be using are St. Michael's. And notice how it's pink. If I hit the tab key, it'll go back to its regular color and move me to the next field. It's also going to be using St. Bridget's, RIDGET, Masses of Thanksgiving. And if I hit tab or enter, and all I have to do is say the untranslate. So we have to train markers, and the written form of the marker has to be a certain way, and the spoken form is normally much more flexible. So I'll show you that this is what our A's look like, and this is what our Q's look like, and this is what our speakers look like. As for the spoken form, we have suggestions, but ultimately the spoken form is up to you. All we care about is that it works and that it works consistently for you. This is what our untrans look like. You can have up to 300 speakers and 300 untrans. No, people don't normally have many speakers, but they do have more untranslates. Most people really love the untranslates and have plenty of untranslates. Audio setup wizard real quick, which is also known as a check microphone. Make sure everything's fine here. Okay, let's see. Huh? Thank you so much. Okay, so I said SPE1, SPE2, Keek, and CAC. And that works. So now I'm going to give this a try again.
Ready? Begin. It was on the 8th of October of 2006 that Justin Baldwin was ordained as the 8th bishop to head the Catholic Diocese of the eastern half of the state. And today he is here to talk with us about how he is settling into his new position and what issues he sees facing the diocese in the near future. Welcome to the stage, Bishop Baldwin. Thank you, Tony. Bishop, just to give the audience a little background, as I understand it, you hail from the state of Wisconsin, and you took a somewhat unconventional path to your current position. As I understand it, you were born and raised a Methodist. That's true. I grew up attending the Methodist Church, and after high school I joined the military and served in the Air Force in Vietnam, eventually becoming an intelligence officer, which ultimately led me to government work. During that period of my life, I studied law and passed the bar, then spent several years as a government lawyer and policy director before converting to Catholicism and completing a Master's of Divinity in 1988. So what sort of skills did those experiences develop that you bring with you to your new role? Oh, for one thing, I probably have a thicker skin from working in the military and government than if I had gone directly to college and then into seminary. I certainly would say those experiences helped me develop patience and discipline, and the ability to hold my tongue and hear people out, then having explanations for what I'm going to do, rather than blurting out the first thing that comes to mind without thinking things through and having reasons for what I'm doing. I imagine being transferred out west here has put you in a rather different kind of diocese than where you were before. Very true. The diocese I came from was much less rural, had a larger population. It was only 800,000 square miles compared to the 35,000 square miles encompassed by my diocese here. And the smaller population here is rather widely spread out, so that many churches have really tiny congregations by comparison to those in my former diocese. This presents several issues that I hadn't encountered before. Such as what? How does geography affect the diocese here? Well, for example, the movement of the population from rural areas to the cities is affecting the viability of the smaller churches. Smaller congregations mean less financial support for maintenance of facilities, fewer volunteers to help with services and outreach. And in those communities where there are Catholic schools, there are fewer students and less financial and volunteer support for those schools as well. I know you've been visiting and plan to visit each of the parishes in the diocese. How far along are you in that process? Well, one of the first things I did after I was ordained was to go on a pilgrimage around the diocese and celebrate masses of Thanksgiving in 12 different parishes. The people were just terrific and very welcoming. The people of this state are obviously warm-hearted, and I was struck by their very real relationship to the land and their sense of hope for the future. In many of these small towns, families have been attending the same churches for generations.
Okay.
In my travels, I have come to realize that people can...
I'm going to call that enough for right now. I'm going to show you how we do readbacks. So I'm not going to turn off the microphone because I want you to see that you don't have to turn off the microphone in order to do readbacks. I want to show you readbacks. So F8 will go up one speaker, and I got the speakers all messed up, so ignore that. But F5, let me scroll up a little bit so you can see the top of that. F5 is play.
Smaller population here is rather widely spread out, so that many churches have really tiny congregations by comparison to those in my former diocese. But this presents several issues that I haven't encountered before. How does geography affect the
F6
for example, the movement
will pause the playback. So F8 goes up, F9 goes down, F5 is play, F6 is stop, F7 switches track from one playback track to another. So if you watch up here, when I hit F7, it switches between the two room tracks. You cannot hear the voice track because obviously you're dictating on the voice track, so you can't play back from that track during the proceedings. You can listen to it afterwards, and you can certainly do correction here as well as in the scope screen. Now, we also have a feature called Open for Readback, and that's this little button right here. So if I click on this, it takes me back to the main menu where I can go to any of the jobs that I have done here. Let's see, let me go to this TED Talk. And you just click on the one dialogue, the one icon that's there. And we can put our cursor anywhere in the document with a left click and then right click to start playing from that channel. Of course, you have to have audio, and this one doesn't. So let me close out of here and find one with audio. What did I press to get to the work log? You mean the other files? Open for readback over here. This is what gets me to the other jobs. And there's only one button. So once you find a job that has audio, you can go back to it. Now, I normally have my audio recording onto a different drive, which is why we can't hear it right now, because I switched that for the purpose of a test that I did earlier. Otherwise, you could hear all of the audio from the other day. When you use an untranslate, let's say that I want masses of Thanksgiving to be written. All I said was Tran 5. So it looks like my Tran 3 and my Tran 4 are working, but not my Tran 1 and Tran 2 and Tran 5. So in the instance that something is not working, we would go to the vocabulary editor, which you have access to. And if I go to custom words only and look for my untrans here, there they are. So I would need to retrain Tran 1, Tran 2, and Tran 5. So I could highlight them, hit train, Tran 1, Tran 2, Tran 5. Let's see if that helped. Tran 1. That worked. Tran 2. Tran 5. There we go. And you can even use one that doesn't have anything in it. Tran 6. Tran 7. Tran 8. Tran 9. Tran 10. Tran 6. Tran 7. Tran 8. Tran 9. Tran 10. Tran 9. Tran 10. So it looks like I have to retrain my Tran 8, Tran 9, and Tran 10. The point of showing you that you can use the untrans that have nothing in it. How do you train these words with the names you want to use? Well, that's a good question. And all you do is go to the vocabulary editor. And let's say I would want to retrain Tran 8. I'm going to go to custom words only and look for my Tran 8. There's my Tran 8. And I do train. Tran 8. Tran 8. Tran 8. We call it power training when we train one word in multiple times in a row. Now I'm going to test by turning on my mic. Training. So it's still not working. So what I would do to increase the likelihood that it would work the next time I would use it is I would do correction. So correction, I just click on the correction mode to turn it on. Click on OK here. And this says Tran 8. So I can hear myself say Tran 8, but it has to be the written form. So it has to look like that. And now I'd hit page down to move to the next one. So I actually have brief forms written to put these in faster. Control D deletes the wrong word. Page down to go to the next one. Tran 8. So asterisk. And Control D to delete the wrong word. And once you've done correction and you want to push those corrections through to the engine, it wrote the names by, okay, let me answer this question. This is a pretty good question. How did it write the names by saying Tran 1? Well, I say Tran 1 if I want this word, 2 if I want this word, 3 if I want this word, 4, and so on and so forth. The system knows to go and get what is in these fields. So it's something that the CAT system is doing for you. So you always say the same thing. You say tran 1, and no matter what is in this field will be written into the dictation screen. You are only limited here in the untranslate field by 255 characters, which means that you can write whole sentences that you can bring in simply by saying tran 5, like to within a reasonable degree of medical certainty. And all you have to do is say, and there you go. So tran 6 brings in all of that. So that's really neat, and people love, love, love untranslates. Now let's say that you don't have time to pop in over here and type in something, but let's say something is not translating. So you say to yourself, okay, well, instead of saying supercalifragilisticexpialidocious every time they say it, I'm just going to say tran 7, tran 7, tran 7. I'm going to say tran 7 all day long. And when I have a break, I'm going to come in here and do I don't even know if that's right, but that's as quick as I could get. And then you can do, watch this now. You see how there's an untran right here? Untran 7. If I go reformat and fix corrected markers, it is going to put supercalifragilisticexpialidocious everywhere that there was a tran 7. And there you go. So that is very handy indeed. Reformat, fix corrected markers. So Alt or F will also do that. Like let's say you do need to make sure that there is a space between each of your untrans, which there normally is because we don't normally use untran, untran, untran in a row. But let's say I want to go ahead and replace the tran 8s. So Alt or F. And there you go. I'm not quite sure why it's not putting spaces, removing spaces between it. That is definitely a bug I need to tell the programmer about. Pardon me while I write a little note, ladies. Okay, thank you for your patience. Okay, so what are some other things that you do? You can add a name in the same way that you add an untranslate. You can add it after the fact and do reformat, fix corrected markers, and it'll put the names in where they're supposed to be. So just to show you an example of that. Okay, so if I want to put in names, let's say SB7. I can do Alt R F, and everywhere that SB7 was, you'll see Miss Terrio. You can also change the display set. That means how you see the text by clicking here on next display set. And as you can see, it changes different things like the font. It changes the size of the font. It changes the spacing of the words. So it just depends on how many display sets you have as to how many times you can change it and to what degree you can change it. You can have an unlimited number of display sets. There are many other things that you can do. There is a dictate to active window button here. And the dictate to active window button actually allows you to dictate and still be dictating and having text drop down in this screen, but it also allows you to put your cursor somewhere else and have text right into that screen. So if I'm doing a real-time coach, for example, I can click dictate to active window and then put my cursor in the real-time coach window so that the text is also writing there. That also applies to things like iCap and stream text for captioners. So it's change display set that can change the font if you need to change the font and the font size. Like some people have a hard time reading and small text, and so you might have one display set that is called easy to read because it's a large font. So that could be something. This is your connect to real-time feed button. If you go to real-time feed and real-time settings, you can actually determine how you want to send your real-time feed. You can send it via a serial cable. You can send it via internet. You can do serial and internet, or you can write directly to a file. These are the standard things that you can affect when you are sending a real-time feed, and you can change these things there. A real-time feed is when you are sending text that you've written to someone else. So for instance, there is a new company called Revotext, and they are working with some courts in Georgia to facilitate remote court reporting. So you might be working from home in your jammies and listening to a feed via an internet feed where you're literally watching and listening and dictating on your machine at home and sending the text feed back into the courtroom over the internet so that the attorneys and the judges can see the text as it's being taken down. And that is a really cool thing. And it's totally optional. You can decide also if the people receiving your feed can save what you send them. So that's really cool. I don't think I was able to finish showing you that after you do correction, you have to go to the Utterance Summary to make sure that the corrections that you made are all accurate and will be learned by Dragon. We have to turn the record button off in order to go into Utterance Summary. We say yes to saving the speech files. Oh, I thought I had made a few corrections. Oh, but I switched it. Okay. The corrections I made were not, I used fixed corrected markers before I showed you correction mechanism. So before I showed you Utterance Summary, so I'm going to show you correction again here, and I'll just correct. So what I'm doing is I'm listening. I'm going to listen as many times as I have to so that I understand. So I'm going to do Alt-P to listen again. Okay, so let's say that I did this correction. I'm going to turn correction mechanism off. You'll notice that once you do correction on text, that text turns green. F5 is to play, and it can also be used to play in correction mode, but you can also use Alt-P, as in Paul, Alt-P, to play the audio again as well. So now I'm going to click on the Utterance Summary here. And in the Utterance Summary, we are allowed to see the original on the left and the corrected on the right. And if it is all correct, then you can actually click on Correct. And that's what pushes it through to the engine and actually teaches Dragon something. So only the text that is blue has been pushed through to Dragon so that Dragon can learn from that text. We ask you to do correction mechanism no more than 3 times a week on 5 minutes of audio, and that should take you no longer than 15 minutes. So I'm asking for a commitment of 45 minutes a week to training your Dragon. That's not a lot. It's not mandatory, but I will always tell you what you need to do in order to get where you want to be. Remember that different people have different goals, and that's totally okay with us. In the beginning, your goal may very well be just to learn how to use the software. Learn how to take down and learn how to read back. Because you should never go on a job if you're not ready to read back. This system makes read back so easy and makes you look like a pro, because doing the read back is super easy. I want to bring your attention right now to the left-hand side of the screen, to this digital recording window. We call it Digitran. And what you see beginning on the left is a mark that is showing you what time from the start of recording this mark was made. So at 10 minutes and 11 seconds into this recording, I started recording. I had stopped and I started recording again. Now, what I want you to notice is that if I make this a little bit wider, I can see on the right-hand side of this note, the date and the time of day. You ladies are both Eastern time. I am Central. So I'm an hour behind you. So you can see the exact date and the time of day. If you double click on any one of these marks, any one, it will go to that place in the recording. And if you come over here with your cursor and right click, it will start playing right there. You can hit F6 to stop the playback, and then you can hit F7 to switch tracks, and then hit F5 again. And it's going to start from the exact same place, but on the new channel. Now, you can record up to 4 more channels of audio. It just requires that you have USB devices and microphones. Once you have completed your takedown, all you have to do is be sure that the mic is off. And I also want to point out that when your microphone is on, the word recording is flashing in the record screen over here. So it's very easy to see when you are recording and when you are not. The black time on the left, that's the total time since we hit record the first time. This blue number on the right is showing where our playback cursor is currently. So currently the playback cursor is way at the beginning of the document. If I double clicked here, you would see that it would change the location to where it's 11 minutes in, which is where this speaker is, 11 minutes in. And simply you left click to say, hey, this is where I want you to begin, and you right click to start the playback. Simple as that. F6 to stop, and you just click on the microphone here or the microphone here to stop the recording. You have to stop the recording. That's the most important thing you have to remember. Stop the recording before you exit out. When you exit out, you're going to be returned to the main menu, and your most current job will be on the top. Now, we also have what we call a courtroom list, which is over here. And the courtroom list is specifically for officials. When you click on the mic, it should always have the recording on. Well, if you click on the mic and the recording is on, it will turn it off. It's a toggle. So if it's off and you click on it, it will turn it on. Make sense? Okay, so let's create a job from the courtroom list, and I will choose a court. Go to real time. And when you go into real time, by default, the microphone is off, and it needs to stay off until your user profile is loaded. So you can see down here at the bottom, it's right now working with Dragon Naturally Speaking to bring up the open dialogue, the open user dialogue. Yes, you always hit real time to open a new document, new job, and then real time. And that will open. I'll go ahead and use my desktop mic this time so you can hear what I'm saying. Once I select the user profile, I have to wait until I see the words topic ready at the bottom, okay? So we have topic ready here at the bottom, and we're ready to turn on the microphone either here or here. And you'll see the words recording, and immediately it's going to start translating my voice into text. And when we say QCO, QMAC, Keek, Kuko, ACO, AMAC, ACO, CAC. As you see, I have multiple things trained for my Q and my A. Why? Because there are days when Dragon will do things that makes no sense. And what I mean by that is you will come in and you will say, let's say that you choose QCO and ACO. QCO, ACO, QCO, ACO, QCO, ACO, QCO, ACO, QCO, ACO. Eventually, sometimes you'll get the wrong thing or your marker won't come up. And so we have multiple things trained so that you can always switch to saying something else, like QMAC, AMAC, QMAC, AMAC, QMAC, AMAC, QMAC, AMAC. Keek, cack, keek, cack, keek, cack, keek, cack. Today, just because I want it to fail, it's not failing, of course. SPE1, SPE2, SPE3, SPE4, SPE5, SPE6, SPE7, SPE8, SPE9, SPE10. There you go. So I could have different things trained if I wanted to for my speakers, but I don't. I normally just say SPE3, SPE4, SPE5, SPE6, SPE7, SPE8. So when things don't come up, it's usually because I haven't trained them yet. And because you have access to Dragon, from your real-time screen, you can turn it off and go train them. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go to the vocabulary editor, custom words only. Oh, well, that would be a great reason why I don't have them working, because I only have 5 speakers in here. So I'll show you that we have an easy way to add our markers. We go to import a list of word or phrases, and we check the preserve the list, preview the list of unknown words. Next, I go to add file, and on the C drive, we've placed a folder called topic files. And under marker files and word lists, you'll find a bunch of word lists. Basic marker file is normally what we're going for. We'll go to next and next. And it's only going to show us what it's going to add. So it's not going to duplicate anything that was already there. It's only going to add what wasn't there. So I'm going to check all because I want to add them all. And I'm going to click on next. I'm going to do check all, and I'm going to train them real quick. Oh, this is my, okay. Shazam, SPE 10, SPE 19, SPE 6, SPE 7, SPE 8, SPE 9, Tran 11, Tran 12, Tran 13, Tran 14, Tran 15, Tran 16, Tran 17, Tran 18, Tran 19, Tran 20, CAC, Keek, note to self, and I'm going to click on save, next, and finish. And now I'm going to test my speakers. So I'm going to turn my mic on. SPE 6, SPE 7, SPE 8, SPE 9, SPE 10, SPE 11, SPE 12, SPE 13, Tran 5, Tran 6, Tran 7, Tran 8, Tran 9, Tran 10, Tran 11, Tran 12, Tran 13, Tran 14, Tran 15, Tran 16, Tran 17, Tran 18, Tran 19, Tran 20. Again, to access your vocabulary editor, you click on the button for vocabulary editor. And then you go to custom words only and you select what needs to be retrained. And then you click on train and you say it. So that's how you get to the vocabulary editor, to retrain things that are not working. So now that we're done, let's see if I trained any. Okay, I need to add, you might have noticed earlier that I said Shazam. Shazam. Okay, and I'm going to place another one here, Alt-R in. Okay, I want to draw your attention to these new job begin words here. When you're an official and you have what I like to call cattle call, which might be a Monday morning where they're bringing in everybody who got arrested over the weekend and are arraigning them to see if they're going to stay in jail or be bonded out or what's up. You're literally going to have 2 minutes. Somebody's going to be, their whole little arraignment is going to last all of 2 minutes. You don't have time to get out of the job, go and create a new job and come back in the time that it's going to take the bailiff or the clerk to call the new case. And so what you're going to do instead is use the new case marker, which for me is Shazam. And it writes new job begins and the time. And so you just do that and you just keep on talking. And at the end of the day, let's say that the third attorney comes to you and says, I'm the attorney for case number 1566, which was the third case today. I'd like this transcribed, please. Here's my card. So you say, no problem. I'll write that down. You turn the card over and write the date and, the case number so that you know which one it's for. And you say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and bust that out and get that done right now. So first I need to turn my mic off so I can exit the job, which I'm going to do. Returns me to the main menu of the courtroom list. And I click on Bust Out. Now here, what you're seeing is the first many words that were listed after you said Shazam or new case or caseco or whatever your spoken form for the new case is. So normally what you're going to say after you say Shazam or new case is the case number and so versus so-and-so, State versus Tom Jones. So you're actually going to see that right here. So let's say it was the third one that we wanted. We would click on that and we would click on, I need to move this bar here. You click on Bust Out. And that is going to take us to the new job screen, at which point I would write, case number 3, 51366 or whatever. And, State versus Tom Jones. And I would just click on scope and it would actually say, okay, do you want to load the engine? I would only ever want to load the engine if I was going to be dictating or correcting, performing correction mechanism, which I usually like to do for a minute. So I'm going to click on OK. Okay, so here we are in the scope screen we still have all of our speakers listed over here on the right. And it's loading the voice data just for this section. So you can do correction, you can just edit if you'd like. I'm going to go over some of my favorite hotkeys once the engine loads. All of the hotkeys are listed right here under hotkeys up at the top. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of my favorite hotkeys. So let's say that I wanted to add a speaker right here at the beginning. Alt R1 adds a speaker. Let's say that speaker 2 started here. Alt R2. Let's say that there was a question here. Alt RQ. Say there was an answer starting here. Alt RA. So even if your Q&A or your speakers don't come out when you say them, you'll be able to rectify that later on. You can even rectify it in real time because of what we call cursor-driven editing. All of your text is always going to come in at the end. So you can be anywhere in the document. I can even show you that in the scope screen. Your text is always going to come in at the bottom. So I can be up here and I can be using different hotkeys and all of my text is still going to come in at the bottom of the screen. So let me show you some of my favorite hotkeys. Control U uppercases the word you are on. Do it again and it lowercases. Control I, initial caps. Do it again and it reverses. Control hyphen, stitches, and capitalizes if your options are set right. Control hyphen again, and Control U will return it to its normal properties. Let's say that I want to add a period after the word here. Control period puts in a period, 2 spaces, and caps the next word. Now, I'm sure that you both know that you can say period. I use Pirco for period. I use Qui for question mark. You can use those, or you can use the defaults. It's fine with me, but you're not always going to have time to say your punctuation, especially when it gets going really fast. So these hotkeys that can immediately enter punctuation with the formatting that is supposed to accomplish it. So like Control question mark would put in a question mark, 2 spaces, and capitalize the next. And let's see, there's lots of other ones. I did introduce you to Control D over down here. Control D will delete a word. Let's say that you got the wrong form of a word. So the word to, let's say, was supposed to be TWO. So with my cursor anywhere in the word or in front of the word but touching the word, I can do Control Y. And the next option for the word to comes up. If I do it again, another option, and another option, and another option, and another option. And it circles all the way back. That's called word swap. If you go to options, which is the button right here under hotkeys, you can see that we have a list of word swaps. Many, 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 many word swaps in here. That does not mean that every word in the English vocabulary has a word swap. We don't. But we do have a lot of word swaps. So some words will have word swaps. Others you'll have to make word swaps for, because all of us are different for what comes up for when we say something. I used to get rape when I would say great, and that was horrible. So I didn't want the word rape coming up every time I said great. So I went and retrained both of those words so that Dragon would understand me better. But I also made a word swap for great and rape so that I could easily just do Control Y and switch it out. We also have something called brief forms. Those are here. And what a brief form is, like let's say that you want to add cross-examination by. I just typed in CEB and hit enter, and it wrote cross-examination by because that's one of the briefs I have. Again, you can just go to the option screen to see what briefs you have. So a lot of the briefs I have are for writing documentation. You don't program these controls. They are default set in our CAT system. So you don't have to program them at all. They're just all there by default, unless you're talking about adding a word to word swap or brief form. If you want me to show you that, that's easy. You click on add, and then let's say that when I said saints, I was getting ants. I could actually have a word swap for saints and ants. A lot of people around here say ain'ts instead of ants. Some people say aunt. We don't say aunt, we say aunt. And that gets twisted into all sorts of different things. So let's say that I wanted to add that. I would just hit save, and now saints and ants is in my vocabulary. Let's say that I want to go find it, and I want to, it's always going to be alphabetical. So I'm going to see if it's under saints. must be under ants. Here we go. Because let's say that I want to edit this and I want to add the word ants. I can do that too. Close and save. And now it's immediately ready to be used. In order to create a brief form, let's say that I wanted to add a brief form for direct examination by. So I'm going to do DXB. And in the text field, I'm going to write direct examination by. And then I'm going to hit add and close and apply and OK. And now, let's see, I come up here and I do DXB space. There's my direct examination by. The reason I didn't use DEB is because that's a name. And so I don't want to use a name. Let's say that this is all single spaced and I want it double spaced. I could highlight it and go to edit. Set line spacing. Double, okay. There's double space. So there we go. All of the hotkeys are listed here. If you want to do something to a section of words, like let's say you want to comma and close these words, you would just do control comma and it would put the commas in the right place. Control comma is also a toggle. No, the DXB is not currently set up as a voice brief, but you can create it in Dragon very easily and just say DXB if you want to. So you can do that. Let's say you want to single quote something that's highlighted. You just control and quote. That too is a toggle. Control Shift will give you double quotes. Control open paren will enclose the quote. Control open bracket will enclose it in brackets. Control Shift bracket will do, nope, that doesn't work. So just the brackets. Okay. It's also, you can do any of that with just one word. So control comma also works for enclosing one word. It also works for single quotes and double quotes. Once we start editing, how do we format to the transcript? How to format to transcript format for turning in work? Okay, transcript format, this is going to be in transcript format as you dictate. And you decide what format it's going to be in by selecting a style. You may have a style for court work. You may have a different style for deposition work. You may have a different style, again, for workers' comp. You may have a different style if you do work for the military and maybe work for the Coast Guard. So you can have multiple styles. You may have 7 different depot styles because you work for 7 different agencies. That's absolutely fine, and there is no limitation to that. Once you have your transcript looking right, what you want to do is import your, you want to finalize. That's how we bring in our covers. And we just go to Job, Finalize, and we click on OK, and that brings in our cover pages. And if we filled it out on the new job screen, we would have everything popped in here, populated, but we did not fill in our cover page we didn't fill it in on our new job screen. And then from here, you go to WordPerfect or Word, whichever whichever word processor you want. Style costs $75 for Word, $150 for WordPerfect. We have some styles already created, and we're happy to share them with you. You can then edit it for your own purposes if you'd like. I'll show you what the style actually looks like. From the main menu, if we go to edit and edit styles, you'll see that I have many, many, many styles because I work with many different kinds of people. You can't hear me, Lords? Okay, so we're back on. Okay, so we're going to go into... Wait. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open a Georgia court sample here so I can show you what they look like and give you a little walkthrough on the styles. From the general tab, we can tell via the display set what you want your font to be and how many pages. So if it's legal and it's 32, you can select that. If it's Courier New 13, you can select that. It's all up to you. I usually set timestamps for on just in case I might ever need them. You don't have to view them, but it's nice to have them in case somebody asks for a timestamp asking. The speakers and untranslates are only here if there are default speakers. Like, let's say that you do work in a court. The court, or what we call the judge, is always going to be speaker 1. For me, the district attorney is always going to be speaker 2. The defense counsel is always going to be speaker 3. Speaker 4 for me is the witness. And then you'll notice that over here it says normal. This normally I have set to colloquy, C-O-L, because that makes more sense to me than the word normal. So the whole purpose of this screen here is you can select whether you want the district attorney in colloquy or as a byline. So if you set it as a byline, the only difference would be you would say SPE 2 when you wanted to say the district attorney or Mr. Frazier, and you would say SPE 5 when you would want it to say by Mr. Fraser. What do you mean by you can alter the ones that you already have? Yes, you can absolutely alter the ones you already have. Yes, you can alter the styles. Creating new styles is $75 for Microsoft Word, $150 for WordPerfect. Okay, so the untranslates really, if there's a certain judge that always maybe says something, the same thing, I don't know what you would use untranslates for here. As you can see, I don't use it. If we go to speaker formatting, Lourdes, you can hear now, right? Just so that you both know, I'm recording this, and this is going to be sent, a link to this recording is going to be sent to you at the end of our time together. That way you can watch it multiple times. Okay? Okay, so here we are as far as formatting the speaker. So we add an indent, 0.5 equals 5 spaces, 1 equals 10 spaces. So 0.5 is 0.5 inches, which equates to 5 spaces. 1 inch equates to 10 spaces. Okay, so in this situation, we've got an indent of 5 plus 1 tab before. Here's the speaker. It'll be in all uppercase, but it's not here. Then we've also selected 2 spaces after the speaker. And then our text begins and wraps to here. Ignore this right here. So it's pretty simple. If you change anything, like let's say we wanted 2 tabs before, if I click on apply, it will show me what that will look like here. So if I want to change it back to 1 and apply, it'll change it back, and there I am. Now let's go see about speaker 2 configuration. Now remember, speaker 2 configuration is my byline. So I just have the word by right here. And then my speaker name, and then I just want 2 spaces after. And right after you have a byline, the next thing you're going to do is say QCO or QMAC or whatever for the Q, and that's going to put a new line in. That's why we do not use new line after right here, because that would add 2 lines, and we don't want that. Okay, Q&A formatting. Here we have 1 tab before the Q, 1 tab after the Q, no period. If you wanted to add a symbol following your Q or A, you would put say a period right here, and then you just hit apply and see there's the period. So if you don't want it, deselect it, apply, and it's gone. Okay, moving on. We have 3 custom screens. And this allows you to add something that you're going to be using a lot. And so some people like to make this let's see, I could do it here. Custom text might be off the record. And I might want a symbol before and a symbol after, and the symbol before is a open paren and the symbol after is a closed paren. And let's say that you like all of your parentheticals to have 2 tabs before, and we would click on apply. And because the next thing you're going to say might be resuming, with a Q or without, you wouldn't want to put a new line because that would give you 2 new lines again. So let's say that your second custom is going to be resuming. Again, you could do the parens before and after. And you can say I wanted 2 tabs from the left, apply, and there you go. And custom 3 might be witness and counsel conferred, period. And again, that might be the open parentheses, close parentheses, 2 tabs before to be consistent, apply, and there you go. And replacement fields. Okay, so when we create a style for you, the first thing I do is I ask you to send me a transcript. And I say, okay, so here's her transcript. I take my handy dandy highlighter and I highlight everything that's going to change from one transcript to the next. So I'm going to just right here bring up a transcript. Let me see. Okay. So here's a sample transcript that a reporter sent me. So what I would do is make sure that here in my replacement fields, I have a field for the cause number, which is the case number. So that'll work. The county, which is here, that'll work. The plaintiff, which for some reason I do not have a plaintiff field. So I'm going to click on add and I'm going to type in plaintiff, add. Now over here, I'm going to move it because I like my plaintiff above my defendant. And let's say that I put, I like to put things in the order that I see them. So this would be my cause number. And then my county. Okay, my judicial district. So I'm going to do add. And I'm going to move that to right under county. Then I have my plaintiff and my defendant. And then I call the video deposition of William Bubba Watkins, I call that type of proceeding. So that's good. Then I have normally my date. She has the location taken, but that's not here. I call this taken at the Courtyard by Marriott. I have that called location taken. And I add. And then I call this location address. So I'm just going to backspace. Okay. And enter. And then location, city, state, zip. Add. And I'm going to move those to where they belong. City, state, zip. Okay, then there's the date taken. I call that long date. I call it long date when it has the day. So this doesn't have the day. So I'm going to edit it, and I'm just going to do date taken. Okay. And then beginning at, there's my time started. And then I'll go to the next page, my appearances, and then my index. Okay. And now I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the job. And make sure that I've got the certificate. Okay, here's the reporter's page. So I want to make sure there's nothing in here that I need a field for. Nope, nothing there. But here I've got a certified date. So certification date is there. And I have a witness field, probably because of this, William Bubba Watkins, so that I can put the witness in there. Sometimes I put where's the certification date, or where's the witness. Here's the witness's name. Here's the certification date right here. And there's the witness's name right there. So I have certification date and witness. So I am ready to go. Some places have erratas, but this one doesn't. So now I'm ready to go to the next tab, which is called Layout and Includes. And in this tab, what I do is I click on Open, and I make sure that I've got fields everywhere that I need a field. So I've got, like this, instead of being case number, it's going to be cause number. Insert case fields. I didn't click on apply. Let me close this. I need to click on apply in replacement fields because I made some changes. Go back to my screen here. And this can remain state of Georgia, or you can change it to plaintiff. Here I'm going to do insert case fields and cause number. And then the type of proceeding is not here. In this job, it was more like down here. And I can move it over. I can add a space if I want to. I can change the reporter's name so that it applies. We no longer have a long date taken, so we'll just put the date here. Commencing at time started. And then here we create a new style basically for every different kind of transcript we want to put out. And then we use the same style for every, like if we're going to do workers' comp, we have a style for workers' comp, and we use that style every time. It'll always be right. All we do is fill in the job screen, and when we finalize, it's going to merge the job screen with this template per se. Does that make sense? How do you get the template? This template here, you have to basically type this or copy and paste it into here. Like when you go here, you could literally, what I normally do is this. I would come over here and I would do this. And I would do copy, Control C, bring this back up, Control A, Control V. Oh, I didn't copy it. Copy, Control V to paste. Okay. And so I'm going to do double space. And then, of course, you can space it out however much you want to space it out. Whatever is appropriate for you, the way you like to see it. And then I would literally go in and highlight and insert case field's cause number. Here's the county, so I would take out the Dallas because that's specific to this job. Insert case field's county. Does this make sense? It's okay. I hear that an awful lot about students not being taught transcript production. It's okay. This you would basically just take a transcript, a digital transcript that you like, and use that. And you can copy and paste it into these fields like I'm doing here, and then literally just delete and insert the proper fields, the replacement fields, so that it will automatically replace each time. And you basically just put the proper field. It's the witness name there. And then this is location address. This is location taken. Go to the time. Insert case field start, time started, like that. And go to the date. Insert case field, state taken, and this is city, state, zip. Insert case field, city, state, zip. And then normally I'd, if this was going to be shared by multiple reporters, I'd put the word reporter here. But if it's shared by you, if it's just yours, then I would put your name here so that you wouldn't have to put it in every time. And then you're ready to go. This is done, so you hit save and close. Styles are one of the harder things. So do we edit right from that screen, or do we copy and paste to Word? No. You do not copy and paste to Word. You go to Word via the present button. Let me finish getting through styles, then we'll go back to the present button. Indexes, if you have an index, you can actually create your index very easily with SpeechCAT. There's a video on that on our YouTube channel. So I'm not going to go over that because our time is running super long. So just know that you can come in here and say, okay, well, I'm going to have appearances. No, that's not. I have examinations. And then you might have exhibits for the state. You might have a total separate one with exhibits for the defense. And let's see if there's anything else. Just do general stuff. And then on the present screen, you specify whether you're going to go to Word or WordPerfect or something different. Most everybody uses Word because WordPerfect is just not reliable. And that's the style. That's how we create and set a style to be used. And when you're creating the new job, whether it's from the current case list or the courtroom list, you select your style from here. So if I want to go to Georgia Court, it's all alphabetical. So here's the one I was working on there. So I would fill in these fields. And if I fill in all these fields, then when we finalize this job, it's going to merge everything that's in here with the template we just looked at in the style. Okay? And when we're in scope, and we finalize to bring in our covers, all of this stuff will automatically be filled in because we filled it in on the job screen. And that feature is called Finalize and Present. And we also have videos on that. And when you present, you literally just click on Job and Present, and it will open up Microsoft Word. It'll come up and ask you if you want to hear the audio again. If you want to hear the audio again, you will leave the check in the box and click on OK. And that way you can actually listen to it again. Oh, this is a WordPerfect style. So this drops into WordPerfect, where I then have to create a bunch of macros to put your page numbering, your line numbering, your all sorts of stuff. Whereas in Word, it will just look like this. It'll look more like this, because Word does everything for you. Well, we do it for you by working with Word or interfacing with Word. So once you have that done, then the next thing that you do is just create the Ascii for the job, and that's just File and Generate Ascii here, and you tell it whether or not you want to show page and line numbers, if you want friendly line and page numbering, if you want 25 lines per page or more or less. We generally make it from the present file, and you can tell it to right align the page numbers if you want, to limit to the lines on the page, to include page breaks. There's all sorts of things that you can do, and you just click on create and it'll create your Ascii file for you. So these changes that you just showed us for the style page is what you would do for us, or could we do that ourselves? You can definitely do it yourself if you decide that you'd like to, and certainly working with a style that, if you already have the styles like the ones I put on your computer today, Latrice, you have all those styles, you can go in and look at them and see what you like, you know, and so it's very convenient. Some people just choose to have us do it for them because they don't want to get into the style because it's confusing and it's difficult and all that. So it's up to the individual. So I obviously made an Ascii from a document I didn't even have text in. So, but it's very simple to do. And we also have a video on generating the Ascii in our YouTube channel. So I'll show you that we have a YouTube channel that is rich with videos. So we have them categorized here, but you can also just go to videos and look at all of the videos that are there. And there are quite a few. I would strongly suggest that you look at this one because this one talks about the USB audio devices
they are seen
that we utilize to record voice, microphones, things like that. This is a 3-minute video. It's not long. It'll teach you something. So I strongly suggest that you do go and check out all these videos. There are so many, and it tells you how long they are. You don't have to watch it all if you don't want to. How do you create an index? Creating a real-time rule, which is we don't believe in using artificial intelligence in our software, in our CAT program, because Dragon has artificial intelligence, and we don't like the two to have to compete. So we have a wonderful feature called real-time rules, and these are rules that you create yourself for when you need them. I'd strongly advise you to watch this video as well. There are so many valuable videos here. We also have an e-learning site where you can take classes when it's convenient for you, and they're self-paced. You go through them yourself. For instance, SpeechCAT 101, it basically goes through everything from what is each button, to the main menu, terminology, all sorts of things, so that you know what we're talking about when you use certain words. There are quizzes. Most of it's not on the website. This is a different site. Our Moodle site is different. It's a different link. And these, the SpeechCAT class is $300. We also have a Dragon class that is $300. We have a computer skills class, which is $175, which is really beneficial. Again, it talks about different aspects of the operating system that you are going to use and you're going to need to understand. And a lot of people come into this not knowing any of this stuff. And if you don't know this stuff, it's just going to make it all the harder for you to really succeed with the system, because you don't know the operating system. So there's all sorts of ways to learn. And we have a list of all of the classes on the site and what every course covers. We have videos that you watch. There are things for you to read. There are things for you to do. Most classes you can get done within a month of part-time watching, meaning only in the evenings every once in a while. You can do it. We do have an about how long it'll take you for each course. You know, you won't always need all these courses. The real-time readiness course is a fantastic course to take once you know what you're doing with SpeechCAT. The SpeechCAT 101 class will take at least 2 months. That's the only really big class. Everything else is more manageable. I even have mock testing for if you want to prepare for the CVR using SpeechCAT. And I was a teacher before I came to AudioScribe, so I do come from a place of how to put, knowledge as to how to put courses together. So these are created based on someone who was formally educated, college educated for education. What do you recommend for me to take as the first steps course? I have my first step on next Tuesday, and I need to know the basics for right now as I continue learning. Okay, I think that the the computer skills course is a good course to take depending on your knowledge of computer skills. Depending on your knowledge of Dragon, that's normally the second one that I suggest. And then SpeechCAT 101 is the third one that I suggest for people that are using SpeechCAT. You will not be able to get through all of it in a week's time. I think that to prepare you for next week, I would focus on watching some videos on our YouTube channel. And after you do that and you start working in SpeechCAT, that might give you a better idea. I think that you should take, again, computer skills, Dragon, and SpeechCAT 101. And we do let you break up the payments on that. You can call and talk to Liz anytime about payment options, and she will work with you. Our goal is to empower women. That is what we want to do every day. We're a company run by women, and though we do have the occasional male customer, we mostly serve women, and that's what we're interested in, is serving women. So that about wraps up this demo. I kept you way longer than I had in mind to keep you, so I apologize for that. But I will send you the links to our YouTube channel, and I will also send you the list of courses that we have on ACE. That's what we call our site, ACE. It's short for AudioScribe Continuing Education. And all of our courses have been approved by the NVRA for credit. So you can be sure that anytime you get education here at AudioScribe, you will absolutely get credit for it with the NVRA. Also, the state of Georgia takes all of our courses as credits. They've been fantastic. Most states take our credits, even states like California and Texas. So you're good. I think both of you are from Georgia, so you're especially good. But I thank you for the time that you have given me this afternoon and your attention, and just for even considering SpeechCAT as an option. And so I am very excited about working with you both. Please know that you can email me for free at any time during your evaluation and beyond. And Lords, if you would like me to install your software for you, I am free to do that right now if you'd like. So you can jump on TeamViewer. Oh, you got it installed with Michelle, didn't you? Yeah. So what do you mean by how do I get the software to my desktop? Oh, the foot pedal. We use an infinity foot pedal. I go to Amazon. I'm pretty sure Amazon has it's the Infinity USB foot pedal, USB 2 foot pedal. No. Okay. This is... Okay, so this is Infinity, the Infinity 2, and this is the Infinity 1, and both of these work. Oh, I can't help you with the foot pedal and your digital recorder. But you don't need the foot pedal to work with your digital recorder, because in SpeechCAT, you can acquire the audio from your digital recorder and attach it to your job. I'll show you. Yes, watch. Okay, so let's say that this is our job, the second job. let's say this is our job that, oh no, let me use a different one because that one's already presented. Okay, so let's say this is the job, the third one here. And I have audio, let's say, to use with it. So I am going to click on import, and that's going to bring up the import screen, and I'm going to click on the very first option, acquire files for the job. And then I'm going to path to where I might have audio. So let me go get some audio real quick. Digital dictation audio. Okay. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to take this job, and even if I wanted to do multiple ones, I could just hold down the shift key and click on the last one, and I could actually import them all in one fell swoop by clicking on that and then OK. I'm going to close this window, and I am going to now go to View and Show Files just to show you that I've acquired 3 files plus the files that I dictated. So if I go into the job now, I'm going to go into Scope. So these first ones are the first 2 that I recorded with SpeechCAT.
I know you've been visiting and plan to visit each of the parishes. Would you tell us when and where?
That's the first one I acquired.
January 27th.
This is the second one I acquired. Oops, volume.
Backwards, and he was struck in the face and knocked flat on his back. He sustained some significant facial injuries and broken teeth and whatnot.
Now the last one. Oh, volume up would help.
Yes, we did an X-ray and we did a CT scan. An X-ray is basically a picture of the bone.
So you don't need to worry about ever transcribing from your digital recorder again. You just let it record, and then you move it to your laptop and you pull it in to the job itself. That way, all the audio that you've recorded for that job is connected to that job. I think it's great too. It's okay, Lords. You'll be able to watch the video and see what to press for record, okay? So where was I? Yeah, that's how you import audio into a job. And so again, I'm going to wrap this up now, and it'll take a little while for the video to buffer. Once it buffers, I'm going to send you guys the link so that you can watch it immediately. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. Email is free. Phone support is not free. It's $75 an hour. So please do try to ask your questions via email. Also, you're invited to friend me on Facebook. My name is spelled Adria, last name Theriot. The Riot is how it's spelled. And if you friend me on Facebook, then I can add you to our Trailblazers support page. You're also very welcome to go to our forum, which if you go to our website, you can click on forum, and that will take you to Visit AudioScribe Forum, where you log in with your name and password. And if you go to FAQ Help Documents and then Beginners, you'll see that I have everything written in steps as to how you should go about learning SpeechCAT. If you'd like, there's so much. These are questions that other people have had. You can see that there's 8 pages. So when you get to the bottom of the first page, you just go to the next page to see. And then, let's see, you can also go to problems and solutions. These are problems that customers have had in the past and the solutions to those problems.